My name is Marcus Daniel Rodriguez. I'm 16 years old, and on December 22nd, 2024, I died on a basketball court. I was just a regular kid from Phoenix, Arizona. I played point guard for our varsity team, worked weekends at my uncle's auto shop, and spent most nights gaming with my friends online. My mom worked double shifts as a nurse, and my dad drove trucks cross-country. We weren't rich, but we had each other. I went to church sometimes with my grandma, but honestly, I was more focused on getting a basketball scholarship than thinking about God. It happened during the fourth quarter of our championship game. We were down by 3 points with 2 minutes left. I stole the ball, sprinted down court, and suddenly felt this crushing pain in my chest. I remember hitting the floor hard, seeing the gym lights spinning above me, and hearing my teammates screaming my name. Then everything went black. But it wasn't really black. It was like stepping out of a dark room into the brightest, warmest light I'd ever seen. I wasn't in my body anymore. I could see the paramedics working on me down there on the court, my coach crying, my mom pushing through the crowd, but I felt no panic, just this incredible peace washing over me like warm water. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around, and there he was. Jesus. I can't really describe what he looked like. It's like trying to explain the color blue to someone who's never seen color. But I knew it was him. I just knew. When he looked at me, everything I'd ever done wrong flashed through my mind. Every lie, every time I was mean to my sister, every bad thought. I should have felt embarrassed or scared. But instead, all I felt was this incredible love wrapping around me like the warmest blanket you can imagine. Marcus, he said, and his voice was like thunder mixed with my mom's lullabies. Walk with me. We started moving, but it wasn't like walking on earth. We were floating through what looked like clouds, but they were alive somehow, glowing with soft colors I don't have names for. I wanted to ask a million questions, but all I could do was follow him. Lord, I finally whispered, am I dead? He smiled, and that smile made me understand joy for the first time in my life. Your body is struggling, but your spirit is very much alive. I have something to show you, Marcus. Something important. Suddenly we were standing on what looked like a mountain, but it stretched endlessly in every direction. Below us, I could see the whole earth spinning slowly like a blue marble. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. The time is short, Jesus said, his voice growing more serious. My Father's plan is unfolding exactly as it was written. I want to show you how the pieces fit together. He waved his hand, and suddenly I could see into what looked like different windows in the air. In one window, I saw a man with orange hair standing behind a podium with American flags behind him. I recognized him immediately. President Trump, I said. Jesus nodded. My Father has placed him in this position for such a time as this. Watch. In the vision, I saw President Trump making phone calls, meeting with generals, signing papers. But what amazed me was that I could see these golden threads of light connecting everything he did to something bigger. Every decision, every tweet, every meeting was like a chess move in a game I couldn't fully understand. He doesn't even know it, Jesus said softly, but every choice he makes is preparing the way for the final battle between good and evil. My Father uses all things, Marcus, even those who don't fully understand their purpose. The scene shifted, and now I was looking at what appeared to be the Middle East. Dark clouds were gathering over Iran, and I could see thousands of people in the streets, some praying, others angry and shouting. Iran will make a move that seems devastating. Jesus continued, but it will actually trigger the very events that bring about my return. The rulers there think they're serving their purpose, but they're serving mine. I watched as missiles launched from Iran toward Israel. My heart started racing, but Jesus put his hand on my shoulder, and immediately I felt calm again. This will happen before the year ends, he said. But do not fear. Every explosion, every tear, every prayer lifted up in terror will be the birth pains of a new world, my world. Then another window opened, and I saw a tall man with dark hair standing in what looked like a factory full of rockets and cars. I didn't recognize him at first, but somehow I knew his name. Elon Musk, I whispered. Yes, Jesus said. He thinks he's reaching for the stars, but I'm using his gifts to prepare humanity for what comes after the great shaking. The technology he creates, the connections he builds, the platforms he controls, they will all serve to spread my gospel to every corner of the earth in the final days. I watched as Elon's rockets launched into space, as his electric cars drove down highways, as his internet satellites connected remote villages to the world. And I could see those same golden threads weaving through everything, connecting his work to God's bigger plan. But Lord, I said, feeling confused, how does it all connect? Jesus smiled again, and suddenly all three windows merged into one massive vision. I saw President Trump making a decision that would force Iran to act. I saw Iran's response triggering a conflict that would shake the whole world. And I saw Elon's technology being used to broadcast the gospel during the chaos, reaching people who had never heard the name of Jesus before. The enemy thinks he's winning when chaos comes, Jesus explained. But chaos is just the cracking of the old world to make room for the new. Trump, Iran, Elon, they're all part of my Father's symphony, Marcus, each playing their part whether they know it or not. I saw Christians around the world falling to their knees in prayer as the conflicts began. I saw Muslims and Jews and people of every faith crying out to heaven for peace. And I saw Jesus himself preparing to step back into the world, not as a baby in a manger this time, but as a king coming to claim his throne. When will this happen? I asked. Sooner than most people think, he said, but later than the fearful believe. My Father's timing is perfect, Marcus. Not a moment too early, not a second too late. The visions faded, and we were back on the mountain overlooking the earth. I felt overwhelmed by everything I'd seen, but also strangely excited. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Jesus turned to face me fully, and his eyes were filled with both love and urgency. Because you're going back, Marcus, and you're going to tell people what you've seen. My heart sank. I don't want to go back, Lord. It's so beautiful here, so peaceful. Down there is just hard. He reached out and touched my face, and I felt like a little kid being comforted by the best father in the universe. I know, son, but your mission isn't finished. Your mom needs you. Your little sister needs you. And the world needs to hear what you've witnessed. Tears started flowing down my face. But who's going to believe me? I'm just a kid. I chose a child to lead my people out of Egypt. I chose a shepherd boy to defeat a giant. I chose fishermen to change the world. Age doesn't matter to me, Marcus. Faith does. He paused and looked back at the earth below us. The people you'll tell this to, some will laugh, some will doubt, some will get angry. But others will hear truth in your words and prepare their hearts for what's coming. That's all I need, a few prepared hearts. I wanted to argue, wanted to beg him to let me stay, but something in his eyes told me the decision was already made. There's one more thing, he said. He reached into what looked like a pocket of light and pulled out something that looked like a golden seed. Take this with you. He placed it in my hand, and immediately I felt electricity shoot through my whole body. What is it? Hope, he said simply. When the chaos comes, when people are afraid, when it looks like evil is winning, you remember this feeling. You remember that I am in control. You remember that every tear will be wiped away, every wrong will be made right, and every knee will bow. The golden seed dissolved into my skin, and I felt it settle somewhere deep in my chest, right next to my heart. It's time, Jesus said. Will I see you again, I asked. He smiled that incredible smile one more time, sooner than you think. Suddenly I was falling, not scary falling, but gentle falling, like being lowered by invisible hands. The light grew brighter and brighter until it was almost blinding, and then I gasped. The first thing I felt was pain shooting through my chest like lightning. The second thing I heard was my mom screaming my name through her tears. The third thing I saw was a paramedic staring at me with the most shocked expression I'd ever seen on a human face. He's back, the paramedic whispered. He's actually back. I tried to speak, but my throat felt like sandpaper. My mom grabbed my hand and squeezed it so tight I thought she might break my fingers. Marcus, baby, you've been gone for 23 minutes, she cried. Your heart stopped. They couldn't get you back. The doctor said. She couldn't finish the sentence, but I understood. I had been dead, completely dead, and somehow I was alive again. The next few days were a blur of tests and doctors and reporters. The medical staff couldn't explain what had happened. My heart was perfectly healthy. My brain showed no signs of damage from lack of oxygen. According to every machine and scan they ran, I was a normal, healthy 16-year-old boy. But I knew I wasn't normal anymore. The first change I noticed was in my prayers. Before my death, prayer felt like talking to the ceiling. Now, when I prayed, I could feel that golden seed in my chest warming up, and I knew God was listening, really listening. The second change was in how I saw people. I could look at someone and somehow sense if they were searching for God, if they were hurting, if they needed hope. It was like Jesus had given me a pair of spiritual glasses. The third change was the dreams. Almost every night, I would dream about the visions he had shown me. I would see President Trump in meetings I knew were real. I would see tensions building in Iran. I would see Elon Musk working late into the night on projects that would change everything. And slowly, carefully, I started telling people. My pastor was the first person I told the whole story to. He listened without interrupting, asked a few questions, and then sat quietly for a long time. "Marcus," he finally said, "I've been pastoring for 30 years. I've heard a lot of stories, but there's something different about yours, something real." He helped me understand that what I had experienced was what people call a prophetic vision, not just a near-death experience, but an actual glimpse into God's plan for the end times. Word spread slowly at first. A few people from our church, then some people from other churches, then some people who didn't go to church at all but were searching for answers. I started speaking at youth groups, then small gatherings, then larger events. Not everyone believed me. Some people called me crazy. Others said I was making it up for attention. A few adults got really angry and said a kid shouldn't be talking about such serious things. But for every person who doubted, there was another person who listened and felt that same golden warmth I carried. People who had been far from God started praying again. People who had been afraid of the future found peace. People who had been confused about current events started seeing God's hand in everything. I know what you're thinking. Where's the proof? When will these things happen? I don't have dates or headlines to show you. Jesus didn't give me a newspaper from the future. What he showed me were spiritual truths about how God works through world events, not specific predictions I could use to prove myself. But I can tell you this, since my experience, I've been watching the news differently. When I see President Trump making decisions, when I read about tensions in the Middle East, when I hear about Elon's latest projects, I remember those golden threads I saw connecting everything. I see God's hand moving even when others just see politics and business. Some people have started listening to my story not because I predicted the future, but because something about it rings true in their hearts. But the most important thing that's happened isn't the prophecies coming true, it's the changed hearts. I've gotten letters from people all over the country telling me that my story helped them find God again. I've had parents tell me their kids started praying after hearing what I went through. I've had elderly people tell me they're no longer afraid to die because they know Jesus is waiting for them. That's when I understood why Jesus sent me back. It wasn't really about the prophecies or the politics or the end times. It was about hope. See, when chaos comes, and it is coming, people are going to be terrified. They're going to think the world is ending and God has abandoned them. But I've seen the end of the story. I've looked into Jesus' eyes and felt his love. I've seen how every piece of confusion down here fits perfectly into his plan up there. The wars and rumors of wars, the signs in the heavens, the shaking of nations, it's not God losing control, it's God taking control. It's the old world being torn down so the new world can be built. President Trump, Iran's leaders, Elon Musk, they're all just instruments in God's orchestra. Some of them know it, some of them don't, but every note they play is part of his symphony. And the most beautiful part is that the symphony ends with Jesus coming back, not as a helpless baby, not as a suffering servant, but as a conquering king. Every tear will be wiped away. Every wrong will be made right. Every person who ever called on his name will be with him forever. I know it's hard to believe. I know it sounds impossible. 6 months ago, if someone had told me this story, I probably would have laughed. But I've been there. I've seen him. I've felt his love and witnessed his plan. And I'm telling you, with everything in me, that no matter how dark things get, no matter how scared you become, no matter how much the world seems to be falling apart, God is in control. The golden seed he placed in my heart burns brighter every day. Sometimes I think I can feel it getting ready to bloom into something amazing. Maybe that will happen when he comes back. Maybe it will happen when I see him again. I don't know. What I do know is this. If you're listening to my story and feeling that same warmth somewhere deep in your chest, that's Jesus calling you. He wants you to be part of his plan too. He wants to give you hope for what's coming. You don't have to die and come back to life to know him. You don't have to see visions to believe. You just have to open your heart and let him in. Because ready or not, the symphony is about to reach its crescendo. And when it does, you're going to want to be on the right side of the music. The time is short, but there's still time. Jesus is coming, and he's bringing hope with him.